Let's dive right into this July 2026 update because it completely flips how we measure search performance on its head. For as long as Google Search Console has been around, it's really only answered one question: how is your specific website doing in Google? But as we'll see in this explainer, the brand new Platform Properties feature finally breaks that limitation. It lets us see exactly how your off-site platforms are actively improving your SEO footprint as a whole. It's a real game changer. For years, whenever a client or stakeholder asked that highly relatable question, hey, is our TikTok actually helping us in search? The honest answer from SEOs was, well, pretty much just a shrug and a working theory. We simply didn't have the instruments pointed at it. We all know your brand doesn't live on just one single domain anymore, but until right now, we had absolutely no way to see how your social presence actually interacted with Google's search ecosystem. Today, we're going to cover the SEO measurement blind spot, define exactly what platform properties are, dive into some platform-specific SEO insights, look at 5 actionable ways to use this data, and then wrap up with some really important limitations to remember. Section 1, the SEO measurement blind spot and breaking the domain assumption. Let's start by looking at the core problem here. For a decade, search behavior has been steadily drifting over to social platforms, but our tools, they just couldn't follow. This right here perfectly illustrates the paradigm shift we're experiencing. In the old GSC era, you needed strict control of a domain, like a DNS record, an HTML file, or a meta tag. It was totally restricted to domain-only tracking. But now, welcome to the 2026 era. We are moving from only tracking a single website you own to tracking your entire brand footprint across platforms you don't even own. You verify accounts through external logins now, which means even creators who don't have a website at all can suddenly use Search Console. How wild is that? Section 2. What are platform properties and adding social accounts to GSC? So the crucial point is understanding exactly what this new property type is and how you actually get it up and running for your brand. Honestly, setting this up takes maybe 15 minutes if you follow a simple checklist. Right now, it's supported for Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. You just select the platform from the property selector, sign into the account, and authorize the connection. But listen up, major warning here. Be incredibly careful to authorize the correct client account during this step. Since every single account is added and tracked as a completely separate property, this is by far the easiest place to make a massive mistake, especially if you're an agency managing multiple brands. Okay, we need to bust a major myth right out of the gate. This data absolutely does not replace your native social media analytics. It's not going to tell you how a video performed inside the TikTok app itself or on the Instagram feed. It strictly measures people arriving at that specific video or post directly from a Google search, Discover, or newsfeed. Think of it as a companion piece. It's designed to complement tools like YouTube Studio and TikTok Analytics, definitely not replace them. Section 3, platform-specific SEO insights and extracting unique value. Let's get to the really fascinating part and see how this all builds into specific platform-by-platform SEO insights that can actively shape your content strategy. Let's look at Instagram. You can use this to run a brilliant A/B test. For the longest time, the industry assumption has been that Reels always win, right? Well, you can finally put that to the test. By diving into the performance report, you can filter URLs containing /reels and compare them against URLs containing /p for your standard static posts. This lets you discover if your static carousels are actually pulling in more search traffic for informational queries compared to short-form video. I mean, that is hard, actionable data you can use to dictate where your production budget goes. Next up is TikTok. And as we all know, TikTok content spikes and dies incredibly fast, right? That makes the GSC 24-hour filter your absolute best friend. If you open up your performance report and switch the chart over to the 24-hour view, you might catch a video you posted just yesterday that is suddenly pulling in surging search impressions. You can spot the trend while the interest is still live and then capitalize on it immediately over on your other platforms. Now, when we look at X, formerly Twitter, the query list reveals conversational, brand-adjacent terms. X posts frequently pop up in Google's What People Are Saying panels. This gives you a literal window into exactly what people are saying and how they phrase their opinions about your niche. Think about it. If a search term is leading someone to a simple 40-word X post, that demand is totally proven, and it's a massive signal that nobody in your space has taken the time to write a proper, comprehensive web page for that query yet. Over on YouTube, you get 2 massive A/B tests that are genuinely super hard to isolate anywhere else. First off, you can see which video format Google Search actually prefers to surface just by comparing /shorts against /watch. Second, you can diagnose copywriting issues by comparing a playlist's click-through rate against its average ranking position. If you have a playlist sitting at a really high position but it's pulling terrible click volumes, well, that points straight at your titles and descriptions as the main culprits. And that's a fix you can literally knock out in an afternoon. Section 4. 5 ways to use data for actionable SEO tactics. Getting the data flowing is awesome, but these are the actionable steps to actually improve your SEO with it. Consider this your brand new strategy playbook. From spotting content gaps where a tiny 40-word social post is ranking instead of a robust web page, to making evidence-based cross-promotion decisions, you just have incredible new capabilities now. You can test those format assumptions we just talked about, mark your strategy changes with GSC annotations so you can measure the impact 3 months down the line, and even watch for cultural revivals where old posts suddenly spike in impressions out of nowhere. For example, if a long-form YouTube tutorial pulls traffic, but the TikTok cut doesn't, you now have a totally data-backed repackaging brief. Section 5. Important limitations to remember and the caveats of the update. Now, before you run and pitch this exciting new capability to your team or your clients, we need to be crystal clear about a few things. Adding these properties does not magically make Google favor your content, and it definitely does not guarantee indexing. It is entirely a measurement tool, pure and simple. Plus, you got to remember the data lags a few days after setup, and the reports default to a 28-day view. But honestly, the most critical caveat: if your external social login expires, the tracking will completely pause until you go back in and re-verify. You absolutely must build a recurring calendar check into your process. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself staring at a 6-week data gap that you have to somehow explain to a client. I want to leave you with this thought. This quote from the source beautifully captures the massive admission Google is making with this update. Your brand does not live on one domain. Content on platforms you don't own is now officially, undeniably, a measurable part of search discovery. It's really just validating what we've known in our guts for years, that search and social are deeply, deeply intertwined. Which brings us to a crucial question you really need to be asking yourself today. Are you ready to rethink your SEO org chart? If you're still running SEO and social as isolated teams with completely separate reporting dashboards, it might be time to ask yourself just how long you can afford to keep those strategies apart. The data has merged. The real question is, when will your workflow merge too? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did, and I'll catch you on the next one.